Conservatism. Conservatism seeks to preserve established traditions and time-tested institutions. Conservative thinkers typically champion the traditional family structure, religious institutions, strong defense capabilities, and individual property ownership as foundational pillars of society. Liberalism. Liberalism stands as one of the most influential political philosophies in modern times. It emphasizes individual rights, democratic governance with public consent, and equal treatment under the law. Key liberal principles include market freedom, competitive elections, governmental power separation, secular governance, constitutional protections, personal privacy, free expression, press freedom, peaceful assembly, and religious liberty. Moderatism. Moderatism operates within the Overton window, the spectrum of ideas considered acceptable by mainstream society. Most moderates remain politically neutral or disengaged, possessing limited political knowledge while avoiding extreme positions. Capitalism. Capitalism represents an economic framework built on private ownership of productive resources operated for profit generation. Its defining features include personal property rights, voluntary exchange, market competition, specialized labor roles, and collaborative social structures. Socialism. Socialism encompasses various approaches, making it a broad ideological category. Traditional socialism advocates worker ownership of production means, supporting labor cooperatives, democratic workplace management, and employee self-governance. Modern socialist movements promote worker democratic control, progressive taxation on wealth, and public ownership of essential industries. Social ownership remains a core principle. Syndicalism. Syndicalism emerges from socialist thought, believing that labor unionization, decentralized revolutionary worker organizations, syndicates, and direct action through strikes represent the optimal path towards socialist transformation. Post-capitalist society would feature a federation of syndicates representing various economic sectors instead of centralized government. Corporatism. Corporatism advocates organizing society into functional groups based on occupational sectors like agriculture, military, or engineering. Assignment based on individual interests and abilities. It promotes cross-class cooperation where workers, employers, and government negotiate to optimize economic efficiency. Theoretically satisfy all stakeholders. This differs from corporate oligarchy or business dominance. Libertarianism. Libertarianism prioritizes individual liberty and seeks maximum personal autonomy with minimal government interference. It shares liberal principles like legal equality and fundamental rights to life, freedom, and property, while demanding severely limited state power. Separatism. Separatism, also termed secession, aims to establish independent nations, states, or governments separate from existing political entities. It seeks political autonomy for specific groups or regions. Communism. Communism centers on collective ownership of production, distribution, and exchange systems, allocating goods based on individual needs rather than ability to pay. Communist society eliminates private property, social classes, currency, and state apparatus. Feminism. Feminism works to establish political, economic, personal, and social gender equality. It argues that societies historically prioritize male perspectives while treating women unfairly. Feminist efforts include challenging gender stereotypes, expanding educational and career opportunities for women. Anarchism. Anarchism advocates for societies without rulers or formal authority structures, emphasizing absolute freedom It calls for replacing state systems with voluntary associations and stateless communities based on mutual cooperation. Environmentalism. Environmentalism, sometimes called green politics, represents ideologies prioritizing environmental considerations in policymaking. This includes promoting recycling programs, reducing carbon emissions, preventing water contamination. Populism. Populism focuses on appealing to ordinary citizens and their concerns, believing popular will should determine policy. It takes various forms since its only requirement is representing grassroots movements. While often associated with democratic systems due to its reliance on popular support, it frequently opposes established elites and traditional political structures. Republicanism. Republicanism promotes non-hereditary government systems opposing monarchical rule, transfers political authority to citizens within republican state structures rather than royal dynasties. Progressivism. Progressivism argues that historical traditions shouldn't be considered sacred. Use societal advancement as more important than preserving past customs. It essentially opposes conservative ideology by prioritizing future progress over traditional preservation. Imperialism. Imperialism traditionally supported expanding national power and influence through military force. Once widely accepted as mainstream policy, it has declined in popularity over time. Imperial ideology advocates military intervention and believes powerful nations should dominate weaker ones, often justifies colonization by claiming colonized peoples benefit from superior civilization and resources. Egalitarianism. Egalitarianism builds on social equality principles, prioritizing equal treatment for all individuals. It demands that all citizens receive identical rights and legal treatment, regardless of background or status. Transhumanism. Transhumanism believes humans should enhance themselves through technological advance, aims to overcome both basic and complex challenges facing humanity. The ultimate goal involves achieving immortality and dramatically improved mental and physical capabilities. Communitarianism. Communitarianism emphasizes community, well-being, and importance as the primary social unit. It argues that left-right political divisions hinder progress. Policies from across the political spectrum can complement each other to benefit communities. It opposes extreme individualism when it conflicts with collective welfare. Authoritarianism. Authoritarianism represents government characterized by concentrated power, demanding obedience to authority while limiting political and civil freedoms. Most traditional monarchies exemplify authoritarian systems where rulers typically imprison and persecute political opponents. Fascism. Fascism claims people are weak when divided, but strong when united under a common banner, whether state, nation, military, or similar institution. As an authoritarian system, it features controlling government, rejecting multi-party elections, and involves strong central leadership, usually a dictator, while rejecting power separation. Fascism embraces ultranationalism, believing nations should prioritize self-interest over other countries' rights. Ultranationalism typically coexists with militarism, the idea that nations need powerful militaries to expand national interests. Fascism suppresses opposition through force, believes in natural social hierarchies, and promotes sacrificing individual interests for perceived national or racial good. Nazism. Nazism represents fascism focused on racist ideology claiming Aryan racial superiority. This view believed that Aryans should play the main role in leading the world toward overall improvement, which made their approach highly nationalist. Nazi classification of Aryan required being white, heterosexual, mentally and physically capable, courageous, and non-Jewish. Non-Aryans were labeled Untermenschen, meaning subhuman. It also promoted eugenics, beliefs and practices aimed at improving human genetic quality. Therefore, people with inherited disorders were considered useless eaters and killed or sent to camps as life unworthy of life. Nazism also persecuted homosexuals, considering them subhuman as well. Thanks for watching. If your brain can handle more, click here for the next dose.